All right, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the pre-market show. Happy Monday. Hope everyone is having an amazing morning today, and hope you had a great weekend as well. Good morning, Norm. How are you today?
Hey, good morning, Carlos. I'm doing well. Yourself?
Doing good, doing good. How about that Tiger Woods yesterday?
That was an amazing fourth round to a Masters.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. So, all right, guys, another week of trading. We have a short week. Friday is a Good Friday, so 4 days of trading this week. Let's see what the market has for us today. Just looking at the SPY before we get started, pretty flat at the moment, just really hanging around. This previous day closed, not doing much. Had a big day on Friday, looks like. Well, big day compared to just, slowly grinding higher, breaking this level that we had here. And finally getting up here on Friday. But also take a look at Brian's recap. Brian's recap, his weekly recaps are great. I learn a lot from them. He goes over some of the trades he's in, some of the stuff he's looking for possible swing trades, and kind of the overall market conditions. So definitely check that video out. It is up on YouTube already. If you have not done so already, you can do it today after the market. All right. So again, the SPY is pretty flat. We got a couple of stocks here, not great though. We got some ones here that we don't want. I don't want to even touch. BPTH is on here today. Again, we already know how that goes, and we got some other two on here as well. So let's get into those. Apologize. Let me turn this phone off. All right, so let's get into what we have on our gappers list. Not much going on today. Pretty light list. Norm, anything exciting that you're watching based on news or stuff you're following from last week or earnings?
Goldman Sachs is just shy. They released earnings this morning. They're just shy of hitting the gappers list. And WFC Wells Fargo released earnings on Friday and was in play, and it looks like they might be in play again today. So I haven't really gotten into their charts in depth, but I'm about to.
Yeah, we'll definitely. I'll throw those on here just so we can look at them later as well. I know WFC was really active on Friday. Look at this huge drop here. Just a great stock to trade. Just sold off the entire morning, really. So just look on here. This was I believe around this time we are in the chat room and there was a call going on. They had a call. I think their CEO was on the phone or having a meeting, whatever it was. But looks like somebody picked up something they didn't like about the future, or something happened in that call, and it's just you got a big drop here, and it really never recovered after that, right? It just stayed hanging around this area. So interesting what's going to happen today on this one. So yeah, I like the daily chart though. It's down already 1.5. We got some volume on it already, 173,000 shares. So this will be interesting to watch. And then you mentioned Goldman Sachs. So let's see what they got going on. So they're down 1.7. They do have some volume though. They got some 283,000 shares traded already. Interesting daily charts. You can see this losing it a bit here. So that's also interesting as well. All right, guys. So let's get into our gappers list. So let's just look at BPTH again. Really not tradable. This is a stock that the last several days just hasn't really been tradable. I mean, just look at this daily chart. Right, we had this insane pop over here, as we all know. And then from there, it just really hasn't done much. It's been really not tradable. Today is gapping up a bit. It's gapping up, well, not a bit, 38%, which is a lot. But again, it's just been selling off really. And just as we know, this stock can move on you a couple of dollars. It's very low flows. I think it's like 300. Was it 300 or so? The float. BP actually is 1 million, but I thought it was lower than that.
I think it was about 800,000 when you were trading it.
Yeah, I think it was a lot lower than that. So it climbed up a bit here, but again, still very low flow. Still, the ATR says 175 here, but again, that's a 14-day average because the last several days hasn't really done much. But don't go by that. This thing can move on you $5 in a matter of seconds. So again, not really tradable. So I'm not going to even watch it today. Next we have on here is PHUN. So PHUN at the moment, 252,000 shares traded, up 24%. Oh, this is that weird one we were talking about last week as well. Again, this one just trades funky. Look at this daily chart, how it just held this level here at $5. Then I believe this was Thursday, popped up. We were watching it Thursday. Now it's up again 25%. But again, we've seen this stock trade throughout the day. It's really hard to catch a trade on this. And the float, what is the float on this? I don't think it's that low float. Yeah, 17.
18?
Yeah, so it's not
million,
too bad.
yeah.
But again, just Norm, I think you were saying you've been watching this stock as well, and it just doesn't trade well, right? So
I've watched it and it looked very difficult, choppy. I mean, there was a good drop right there on Friday, but it trades a little strangely for me, for my liking.
Yeah, and also again,
I'll tell you. Go ahead, Carlos, because I've got a couple more that I'm going to throw out your way as I'm looking as we're talking.
Sweet. And one of the things that's very important, guys, and again, we stress that in this show quite often, is how do you manage your risk, right? So this thing here can move a couple of 50 cents. These are our dollar candles in here. You know, how do you manage your risk if you really can take a decent size a number of shares, and it's just very unpredictable. So that's something you want to also be careful as well. So go ahead. What else you got there?
Afria, APHA, it's gapping down 13% with 370,000 shares. They released earnings this morning. It just the ATR isn't big enough. So that might affect more than just that. It might, the other pot stocks like Cron and CGC and such.
CGC, yep.
I haven't looked at those yet, but their earnings might affect those once the market opens. And then also CVS was in play last week, and it looks like it might be again in a little bit. It's only it's only up 1.5% at this point, but it might
it's
start moving here.
Actually got a nice bounce here. I remember that it sold off last week. So yeah, it's got a pretty good bounce here, 1.4. Not much volume yet, but this one trades okay though. We traded this one in the past. It is somewhat tradable. So yeah, it'll be good to see what develops in the morning today. So let's take a look at these. Let's see how they continue to develop throughout the morning. See if we can get some volume in here. And then the last one on the gappers list is ADSW. So ADSW, they're up 8. Oh, it looks like a buyout.
Right? Yeah, it's a buyout by Waste Management.
Oh, okay. All right, excellent. So Waste Management announced a third. Yeah, thanks, Jared. I see it on there as well. All right, so not really in play. And again, buyout stocks. Somebody asked the question, what was the stock last week that was on a buyout as well? Friday. I forget the name of it. Because somebody was asking the question, why don't we trade buyouts? And usually they don't trade well. They trade pretty funky, especially the ones that are being bought out. I'm assuming this is the one being bought out because it's gapping up. Let's look at Waste Management. What's the ticker for Waste Management? Does anyone have it handy?
WM.
WM. Okay.
Yep.
So actually, this is gapping up today, which is pretty strange. Usually, the company that's buying is really gapping down.
Yeah, the reason I didn't mention this one earlier is because it's up 2.5%, but it's only on 2,100 shares of volume.
Yeah, so not really in play. So again, guys, the volume is there on ADSW is up 18.80, but really when it's on a buyout, it's really difficult to trade, and it might just not really be in play today. So we're just gonna avoid this one. All right, so not really much on the gappers list that's tradable this morning, Monday morning. Not a lot that's in play here. Again, BPTH is not tradable. PHUN, it's really also a nasty trading stock, doesn't trade well. So today's one of those days where right now we're starting a bit slow, which is okay. It happens. We'll focus on being patient and seeing if anything else develops in the morning, looking at our scanners as well. So let's look at some of our NASDAQ active, NASDAQ gainers. Let's start today with the NASDAQ active because I know that some people are watching this one right here. I see you guys mentioned in the chat room. FCSC, as you can see here, is moving nicely. It's got a good pre-market action right here. It's got 1.7 million shares traded. It is up 56%, 57 now in the climbing. So this is looking really good. What's the float on this one? FCSC. We're looking at 9. So a low flow stock, but it is trading nicely. And it looks like it's definitely got the volume. It's trying to break through the high of the day here. Actually, it's breaking through it right now. 284 is the new high of the day. So definitely in play. Looks clean. Let's put it on here for a possible this morning on a low float. Again, guys, the key on the low float is just to really, really watch your size. Don't go in there with just a huge size because you got the buying power to do so. Everything is tradable as long as you manage your risk. If you cannot find how to manage your risk and how to have something that's consistent, then just avoid it. And the low flows usually tend to not be consistent most of the time. This is why we avoid them. But we're not trying to knock them. They are tradable. You can see here, this one, when it gets the volume, you have a nice little pop here. So it is tradable now. It looks like it really wants to go. So we'll keep a watch on this one as well. All right, so next, below the NASDAQ active, we have AKAO. Not much happening here. Penny stock. JAGX, not much going on here. Also a penny stock. FLKS as well, penny stock here, PIXY. 294,000 shares traded, but again, really not a great pre-market action. Look at the 1 and the 5, really not a good flow going on here in any direction. Daily chart is also a little funky. And what's the flow? Just curious what the float is on this one. PIXY, it's 18 million shares flow, so not too low of a flow. I was expecting it was going to be less based on this nasty pre-market action here. But again, just really not something that looks like it's in play. Opposed to like a FCSC, right? If you are going to trade low flows, at least trade stuff that looks really, really good. You got to be extra picky. This one has the volume. This one has, you know, it's gapping up nicely. It's got a beautiful pre-market action at the moment, holding, somewhat holding these moving averages, which is what you want to see. Breaking the high of the day now, so it does got some good green volume down here going for as well. All right, below that we have PHUN, which PHUN, what do we have going on here? Oh, this is the nasty one. Yeah, this has a nasty daily chart. Although the pre-market action is so, but again, it's just look at these candles. These are dollar candles here on a 5 minutes. So you got to be very careful. We seen this stock not trade well throughout the day, so you know it's just you got to be careful with this one. Pre-market action right now also on the 1 doesn't look great. The 5 looks good here. You got some kind of flow, but now it's kind of getting pretty flat. Next we have BPTH. We know this is really not tradable, and actually it's just selling off. It popped up above 40%, 37% now, gapping up. But again, it's just kind of selling off now. You really don't want to go long in this one. This is selling off because it can drop. It's at 21. This thing can drop easily to 17 in a matter of seconds. So again, just not really, no matter how many shares you take, it's really not manageable, and that's what you want to be aware of and look out for. Next, we have Nasdaq ETF, not really tradable. HSGX, not much going on here. No good pre-market action. Over on Nasdaq gainers, we have IMUX, nothing going on there, no activity. FCSC, yep, this is looking great, making a new high right now, and 284, 286. It's got a nice uptrend here going with some good volume, 1.8 right now. BPTH we're aware of, again, just selling off at the moment. EFII, not much happening, looks like some kind of buyout here. PHUN, again, not looking great. Let's put it down here just to check it and see how it does. But again, not something that I'm looking personally to trade. SAVA, not in play. GoGo, reminds us of the flight internet Wi-Fi. This is not looking good neither, just not in play at all. AMRS, this one we watch quite often. Let's see what's going on. And sometimes it tends to trade really well, but today it's got a good daily chart though. It's got, you know, it's coming up here, sold off, coming back, and then also gapping up 15%. So it's a good daily chart. I just wish it had more volume. Doesn't really have the volume at the moment. Only 47,000 shares traded. We'll throw it on here in case it can get going. But right now it just really needs more volume. TTNP, not much going on, pretty flat. ATAI, this was one that was really active last week. Yeah, had 2 days where it just popped up nicely here. Today it doesn't have the volume though, up 8%, but not really in play. Again, very important on these lower flow stocks. You need that huge volume to get, you know, to get some of that momentum going. SFED we have traded before in the past. This one trades really clean actually, but right now doesn't have the volume and not a good pre-market action. All right, guys, so let's get through some of these. Let's see what else you guys have on your end. So WTW has no volume, but it's up 3.1. Let's check. Let's see how that looks. WTW is just very interesting. Just been, again, just selling off like crazy. We had one gap down here. It kind of consolidated, and then another gap down here. Now it looks like we might be consolidating again. I'm going to remove some of these levels. It looks too congested, but here we are. So yeah, the daily chart looks interesting, but the one thing is that it might just consolidate like it did here a couple of days ago, right? So a couple of days ago, you had this huge gap down. I mean, this was big, and then just kind of consolidated, found the bottom for a bit, and then again another drop down here. We might be doing the same, but I agree, it's a very interesting chart, but at the moment not for the open, not looking too great right now. What else we have? Disney had a huge day on Friday. Yeah, Friday.
Yeah, it was massive.
Yeah, so it's a pretty flat right now at the moment, but it is keeping this new high. This right here is an all-time high, by the way, 130.90, I believe, right? Was that all-time high we mentioned?
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Yeah, it was, right? Yeah, so the all-time high here, which makes it interesting, is not selling off. Didn't sell off really too much on Friday, so that's interesting. Might just consolidate here. But again, daily chart is interesting on this one as well. We can possibly watch this for later on today, see if it gives us any good opportunities. Next we have PIXY. We just looked at that one a few minutes ago, but let's check again, see what's going on. So PIXY, just not a good pre-market action right now. This doesn't have a good flow, opposed to like a FCSC where it's kind of selling off now. But here you can see it has a really good flow, really good volume. This PIXY is really just pretty flat, right? So you have some big orders here, 132,000 shares traded, and then it's just kind of died down. It's kind of pretty flat at the moment, so not looking too great right now. All right, what else you guys have on your end? JMIA, 128,000 shares, so now it's at 194,000 shares traded, up 8%. Oh, it's a recent IPO. It just opened up a couple of days ago, Friday.
Friday. Yeah.
Well, the issue with this one is you're not gonna have shares for short. At least I don't, and usually you don't have on recent IPOs. And also, it's just we have no levels for this right now. So we really need to wait for this one to kind of settle in and give us an opportunity. Traded really well on Friday when it opened up. Had a nice pop here, kind of held these moving averages, so that was clean. But right now, this thing could just be getting into a groove. So I wouldn't watch it for a possible play today, but again, it'll be interesting to see how it develops over the last several days. And speaking of that, let's see what LIF is up to. LIF is right back down, so we thought it was going to actually get a bounce here, find some support, but again, just still looking very weak. But also a stock that's trading very, the spread is horrible, even at the open, as high as 25 to 50 cents, and it's just trading very erratic right now. So same thing with the other one, JMIA. We just want to wait to see how that develops. And you know, if you could scalp it, scalping probably the only way you can trade something like that, right? If you see a volume coming in, you expect a spike, and you see the level 2s forming up, that's probably the best way to trade that. But I would not be able to. You won't be able to find any levels. You can't go by the moving averages, so there's not a lot of technical information that you can off the charts that you can trade on a recent IPO. All right, next we have, let's look at AMD. So AMD was AMD up to. All right, so no volume right now, really not in play. So I'm gonna wait for this one to hit our scanners. Daily charts is kind of pretty flat, just kind of consolidating at this point here. We've been holding this 2750, hanging around really at the previous day close with really no volume, which is strange for AMD because they usually have volume in the pre-market action, at least 300,000 by now. And they only have 140, so that's very strange for AMD.
Must be spring break in a lot of places this week.
Yeah, there is actually. I know my nephews are off this week, but my district is not off until next week for spring break. So that's also plays a part as well. So let's look at SPOT. It's down, but no volume yet. So SPOT. Yep, down 3.1. Yeah, no volume yet. Daily chart is very choppy though. I wonder how this trades.
Daily chart's very choppy, and it averages less than 2 million shares a day traded. It's very hard to trade because of that.
Okay, so
unless there's some kind of a catalyst that really throws it into play and adds a ton of volume.
Gotcha. Yeah, I just noticed that down here. Yeah, right. Good call, man. Yeah, so it doesn't get that much volume, and that makes it hard to get into a nice place here without that volume. What else, guys? What else you have on your end? So yeah, Disney we have. So I have Disney down here. Again, possible continuation. Yep. I do agree with that. This can definitely be in play today. CLVS. Let's take a look at that. CLVS. So, this is interesting. Daily chart is down here, 9.5. Doesn't have the volume yet, but I do like the daily chart though. It is down quite a bit. Not the greatest pre-market action, pretty horrible in the pre-market action, and that's horrible because of the no volume, right? Because you have no volume. But I do like the daily chart, so I will take a look at this later on today. Mid-morning, usually after 10:30, when some of the bigger moves are done already with these stocks that do have the volume, are gapping down. After these are done doing their thing, we can look into these. RBZ, let's see what RBZ is doing. RBZ is selling off right now. It looks like it might be done. Again, had a huge day about 2 weeks ago, and Friday also had a really nice day here, but now it looks like it's just might want to just sell off. So not really in play. It's getting the volume here, but again, not sure how that's gonna go. But we saw this on Friday as well, where it looked like it was selling off right when it opened up, and then it just took off. right? It just started taking off. We're watching it. I think Brian was trading live. Not this stock, but we were watching the stock as we were trading live, and it just took off out of nowhere when it looked like it was selling off. So could be setting up for that today. Go ahead.
I was just going to say it's already been halted this morning, it looks like.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, not sure when, but I do see that I have the T here.
Yeah, and it's not shortable on IB.
Yep. I have it on short selling restriction, but it's not shortable neither for me. So, again, I wouldn't short this stock anyway. That's a scary thought. It's just, just don't do that. All right, guys, so that's what we have so far. Let's look at a few more SNE, MU, and SQ. Let's check those out. SNE. Not much happening. No volume right now on SNE. And this one is very choppy. This is a stock that trades very, very choppy. So you want to be careful on it. Then the other one is MU. Let's see what MU is up to. Kind of like AMD, really no volume. I'm really down. Only 50,000 shares traded today. So both looks like the tech sector is kind of down a bit. I don't know what's going on there. SQ, see what SQ is happening. No volume in SQ. Also 20,000 shares traded only. So really, really flat. All right, guys, let's take a look at what's happening here. Let's get rid of some of these, and then we'll start looking at
Citigroup. Has been mentioned a few times. Citigroup C has been mentioned a few times. Yeah, has been mentioned a few times. It's got heavy volume. It's only up about 0.5%. It might be in play later, but you've got Wells Fargo and Goldman Sachs that both have a good amount of volume as well and bigger gaps. So all those are probably going to move somewhat in tandem. Wells Fargo might be a little bit of an outlier in that just because of its own news and problems that it has had. But so Citi, while it's interesting, there's so many of the financial or bank stocks in play that I'll probably keep an eye on those personally myself.
Yeah, actually, WFC, just looking at it now, it's starting to look very interesting. Just losing it here, starting to get some volume, 201,000 shares traded. And I love the daily chart. I had a really bad day on Friday, and it's gapping down again today. So you got some very clean levels here as well. As you can see, I'm just going to put it because I'm already on it. 45 looks like a very nice level of these days here. Then below that you have a 45.03, and then you clearly have this one all the way down here, 43.94. So I do like the daily chart on here. Mark down the low of the day as well. See if we're going to hold that or are we going to take off. I know the low of the pre-market is down here, but I'm going to mark this one because it tested this one right now and it's testing it again. So let's see what it does. Yep, we have Goldman Sachs here as well, Sammy. So we'll go over that one also. All right, cool. Let's get into it, guys. So WFC, let's start with this one here. Again, just a big red day yesterday. That's when we were watching it. So now we're down 1.7. Volume is starting to come in. We got some levels in here. I got the low of the pre-market. Also, this 45.45. I like this level, as I mentioned, because of these days over here. You got several days here bouncing from it. And also here bouncing from it as well. Once they can't hold that, it cracks down. So that's what gives you all these other levels down here also. So I do like this. Towards the top, we have plenty because we have the low from yesterday, from last trading day, which is Friday. And then you also have the high, which is around the same area. So that 46.08 is pretty good resistance that could be there. And also you have the previous day close right on there. So I think towards the top, you're okay. And this looks very weak. Again, you don't want to have any bias, but this looks very weak today, like it wants to sell off. So let's see how it develops. Next, we have GS, Goldman Sachs selling off here, down 1.8. Volume is starting to come in. So daily chart, towards the top, you got plenty. I don't think you need to add anymore. So you have the high from 2 days ago. You got the low from Friday. You got the high from Friday over here. And then this nice level here, the previous day close, right? So plenty of levels in this area above the price action. Below the price action, you have the low of the pre-market sitting at 203.67. And then you have this moving average coming in here, which actually I'm going to mark this moving average here at 202.38, 202.44 or so. So good moving average there. And then below that, you have the low from 2 days ago. So I think that's plenty for Goldman Sachs. You can see how these levels are playing out nicely here in the pre-market. It's 203.67. It's being held. Tested it 1, 2, 3, at least 3 times. So let's see if that's going to be a support area for Goldman Sachs today. Next, we have PHUN. PHUN, again, lower flow stock, 18 million shares trade, 18 million shares float. But it's not trading too nice right now. I think I want to avoid this one. It'll be difficult to manage the risk on this. Some of these candles are $1. I don't like the daily chart, and we've seen how this trade throughout the day. It doesn't trade really well, so I'm just going to remove this one from my list. So let's get rid of that one. APHA, this looks good. It's down 12.3. I don't have shares for sure, but I do like that the fact that it's down so much. Coming into this moving average too. That's 200. That's 200 daily moving average. So that's interesting. It's right above the low of the pre-market, 863. And then below that, what else do we have below that 863? Clear level right in here, 834, and this one 807. Then towards the top, we got this level over here from these 2 days, and then we have a clean level right in here, and this 938. So we have 909 and 938. Also is nice because you have this here, you have these days also testing that level. If it wants to go towards the top, this can be an area of resistance, a possible profit taking area. So looks like it wants to bounce from the low of the day right now at 863. It's getting above VWAP on the 5. Let's see if we can get above this 909 or if it's going to bounce back down. So again, pretty active right now. 477,000 shares traded, down quite a bit. Although I don't have shares for short, this will be a good stock to watch today. CORN, not really active right now. But again, we just pulled those up because we were looking at APHA. So I'm just going to get rid of these for now. Later on, if they hit our scanners, we can tune into those and see what's going on. So next, what do we have? We have CVS. Let's check what CVS has going on here. So CVS right now is doesn't have great volume right now, not a great pre-market action, but let's see if this can develop later on. Let's find some levels. We might take it off if it doesn't get better, and then what we'll do is we'll look at our scanners. So what do we have here? Towards the bottom, 51.83. Then I think right in here, you have so many levels already. I don't think you need to add any more. So you have towards the bottom, previous day high, which was from Friday, previous day close, and then previous day low, all in here with the low of the day today so far, low of the pre-market. Maybe towards the top, you can add one. You can add the high of the pre-market at 54.14, and then you clearly have the high of 2 trading days ago, which would be Thursday. And then right over here, you have another one, 55.10. So I think that's enough for CVS. We'll have to see if the volume can come in here and start creating a good pre-market action. Right now, does not have a good pre-market action. What do we have next? So FCSC, let's see what's happening. Also selling off now. Let's find some levels for this. High of the pre-market sitting at 287. We have a pop all the way up here at 328. So we know if this thing gets the volume, it can run. Right now, it has some really good volume, 2.3 million shares traded so far. Towards the bottom, in case it might want to come down and test some support areas, 262 is a clear support right in this area here. 262. Let's see what else we have. Yeah, that 262 also being confirmed here as well. I got another one on there. I think that's pretty much it. Look at that 328, also an area where it has hit it before here at 328. So I think you got plenty on here. Heading back down to this 262 level. Also got some moving averages coming in here. If it does lose, you can also mark down this level here, 236. Obviously, tested it twice and it's sold up from here. So if it loses 262 at the open or at the pre-market, it can hopefully find some support here and then be played for a fallen angel strategy at the open if that's the case, if it can hold that level. All right, so PHUN. I don't like the way this one's trading. It doesn't really have great volume neither for a lower flow stock, only 285,000 shares traded. So I am going to not really watch this one here. AMRS up 15%. So let's see what we got going on. AMRS still doesn't have the volume, so I'm just not gonna watch this one today. I'm gonna remove this one here. All right. Disney's a possible for later on. CLVS also a possible for later on, not getting the volume, but it's down 10%. I do like the daily chart. RBZ, not really tradable. I'm gonna remove RBC. It's not really tradable. And then we have C as well. These on here I'm gonna watch for a possible trade later on. But the favorites out of all the banking ones is really WFC. This one has some good pre-market action. Is down quite a bit after being down on Friday, so hopefully we can get something out of that. All right, so not much. That looks great. Let's see what else we have here on the gappers list. What else is popping up? WTW is coming back up here, starting to get the volume. Looks like.
Wait. Weight Watchers pop back up.
Yeah, not a great pre-market action. But let's see. Yeah, we'll find some levels, but again, not a great pre-market action right now. So low of the pre-market sitting at 18, high of the pre-market sitting at 1861, and then you have the previous day highs from Friday and then Thursday as well here. So I don't think you need to add any more on here. And then below that, the low of the pre-market, you have the previous day close with all the lows from 2 days ago in there as well. So don't think you need to add anything, but again, just right now, not looking too great, just barely cracking over 100,000 shares. But we have our levels in case it hits our scanners. We can watch this later on today. All right, Norm, anything else you like on your end that you're watching?
No, I think it'll be a big day for scanners for me.
Yeah, I'm seeing the same thing here. Again, I see you guys mentioning BPTH, but yeah, again, just BPTH is unpredictable. It's more like gambling, really, and try not to do that with trading. I mean, it's just, again, it's up 37%. It's been selling off here. Volume is only 300, only above a little bit, getting close to 300,000 shares traded. But again, I just don't know how you would trade this. I don't have shares for sure. I don't think many would have shares for sure on this stock. I don't think brokers want to take a risk on anybody shorting this stock. Do you have shares for short, Norm, on this one?
Well, let me take a look. Let me mention Workday. While I'm pulling that up, I looked. Workday has no gap and hasn't traded any shares this morning, so it's not important.
Workday, WDA. Yeah, no activity right now. So nothing happening here.
No. IB doesn't have shares for short.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that, again, I can't see anybody trying to take a risk on something like that. AD&T. Let's look at AD&T. So AD&T has no volume right now. Has a beautiful daily chart. Here has been, really strong, gapped up on Friday and is holding here, opening up pretty flat right now, but really no volume at the moment. This could be one that we can look for in our scanners and hopefully see what it can get going. All right, what else we have? Let's see what we got here. Okay. So anything else, guys, you guys are watching? That's great. Very polite and respectful live streams troll. That's good. That's good. Love this stuff. All right, so what else we got? IP. Yeah, JMIA we looked at earlier. It is a recent IPO. Again, it's up 7.6. Got some good volume, but we really have no levels here. So the only high of the pre-market, again, sitting at, did that get down? Yeah, 21, 28, 30, 35. And you got the low of the pre-market pretty close to the previous day close. The only way I would trade this, if it was me, if I see something like a good ABCD pattern, this would be for a really quick scalp. I mean, I don't see how else you can apply our strategies to recent IPOs. So let's wait for them to settle in and hopefully give us a good opportunity. But that's the only way you would trade this, is kind of scalping it. Because we don't know the trading pattern. We don't have enough history to say, okay, this trades well. What are some of the levels? Moving averages don't mean anything right now. There's nothing here that you could really watch in the type of strategies that we trade. All right, so what else, guys? So Roku, let's see what Roku's doing.
I looked at it. It really didn't have a good pre-market. Not much volume. It does have an interesting daily, a very interesting daily. But so it could hit our scanners later, but the pre-market's not showing anything.
Yeah, pre-market's not looking too great right now. But it's at a good daily level here again. So this support, to see what this can do here, but not great. But like we mentioned, we might need to be focused a little bit on our scanners today, given some of the stocks that we're seeing, some of the pre-market action we're watching. TRNX. Well, this is a penny stock trading under $1. Had a big day Friday, but today it's just not looking great pre-market action wise. Again, let's just be very careful trading these penny stocks that trade under $1. They could be very, very manipulated by anyone just dropping huge orders on these things, right? So you want to be very careful with this. BRZU, not much volume yet. BRZU. Yep, not much volume yet. Yeah, daily chart looks a little funky though. Daily chart seems to be all over the place here. So, not sure about this one. PCG daily. Oh, what is PCG up to? All right, so PCG daily. Let's see what's going on. Wow, I didn't know it had such a big day on Friday. Look at that. It's back at some levels.
Yeah, that was in play later in the day. I believe it was announced that the governor in a speech said that they were gonna help them, support them, do something of that nature.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was going on even when it happened. The government had, kind of backed them from the start, even when they had this huge drop. So, all right, cool. So bouncing back here again. But right now, the activity is not great on it. So I'm not sure how this will play out today. All right, guys. So this is what we have so far. Let's just go over it one more time. So WFC again has a good daily chart. Pre-market action doesn't look great, but I like that it's down 1.6. It's finding this level at 45.62. Goldman Sachs also hitting this level low of the pre-market 203.60. APHA bouncing back from this 862, some good volume, 568,000 shares traded. CVS as well, not looking too great. So I might drop this one off, and then BPTH I just had here just to look at it. But again, this is really not tradable. I am not going to watch this one. FCSC is finding some support here, but kind of hit 287 and now selling off. But it's got some very good volume, 2.5 million shares traded right now. So that is what I have, guys. This is my watch list so far. Let's look at EIX. No activity on EIX today, so no shares have been traded at the moment. Very interesting daily chart on Friday, as you can see here, going from 62 all the way to 67. So that was nice, but again, just nothing traded at the moment. APC's gapped up nice on Friday, but again, right now it has volume, but the pre-market action doesn't look great at all. Must have been a block trade that caused all this volume here, because I don't see that volume. Oh, right here. Actually, it's in here. Yeah, these two candles, 111 almost each. So again, just not great volume, though, not a great pre-market action.
And that's the buyout by Chevron that was announced last Friday too.
This is what this is. Okay. Yeah, I remember that. Right. They were gapping up like that. Okay. Actually, let's see how this traded. Again, it had this pop before the open, and then it dropped, and it really just look at the action at the open, right? You just don't want to be involved in this. This is why we don't trade on buyouts, because it's not predictable what this guy's plans is on what they're buying and selling. Look at the volume. I mean, we're talking about 4.2 million shares traded on every 5-minute candle at the open, and look at the action, right? You don't want to be caught in that type of trading. All right, guys, so this is what we have. So Norman, do we have some messages in regards to our challenge and how we're doing, how many members we have? Yeah,
so I don't have an updated number on the members, but we can get to that later in the week. But as most people know, we pushed the start date of the challenge back to next Monday because of the 3-day weekend and the market being closed this Friday. So the practice week will commence a week from today, next Monday. And then a week after that's when the challenge portion, the competitive portion of it starts. We listen to lots and lots of feedback, and we are using a point-based system to award consistency as opposed to just straight out take a tiny float, hit a home run with it, and sit for a week. We didn't want to. We don't want to limit people's styles, and some people do trade low floats and do it consistently and well. But so if you're just trying to hit a home run and win for the week, it's not going to work, because you won't be able to do that 5 days in a row. And then what else do we have, Carlos?
Also classes.
We've got a full slate of classes this week. Correct. Those are all posted, and if you have any more info, you can shout it out, Carlos.
Yeah, no, that's it. Just all classes this week. Check the calendar for exact times and date for classes. Also, there's a new class we're doing this week is for the commissions, right? Breakdown complete guide to commissions. That's on Wednesday. So very interesting class for those that want to learn more about how commissions work. William is going to be doing that class on Wednesday, so definitely log in for that. All right, guys. So I think that's all we have.
And
go ahead.
I got one more announcement, Carlos. So We're going to be doing we've added a new little segment. We're going to have a YouTube Live Ask Me Anything that the first one's going to be on April 23rd at 9 p.m. It'll be on YouTube, obviously YouTube Live. So we're going to take one or two moderators, Andrew, in the mix each time, and it'll be Ask Me Almost Anything. There'll be a few ground rules. Obviously, it'll be trading, related and such, but yeah, I think it should be really interesting. The first one, like I said, April 23rd at 9 p.m. The link is on our YouTube channel, and it'll be Brian and myself for that one. Yep. 9 p.m. Eastern, by the way.
Yep, excellent. Looking forward to that as well. So question from Dave. Yes, classes will be recorded and they will be online. That is correct. So they will be available for you to watch at your convenience. So good question from YouTube. Just want to take a quick minute to answer this. So when we do our levels on the 5-minute and they appear on every other chart, the way you do that is you right click on your chart in DAS and then just make sure this is checked off here, right? Global trend lines. Just make sure that's checked off. Hit OK, and then save your layout, because if you don't save your layout, sometimes this thing goes back to normal when you restart your application again. So check this off. What that allows you to do is that when you draw a trend line here, it appears in every chart, right? So 63.81 is here, now it appears here, and also in any other chart that you might have, you're going to get that same level on there. So a couple of months ago we did not have that, so we had to do it on every chart, right, if you were doing that. But now it's a great feature, and if you click on it, delete it, then it comes off this chart as well. All right guys, so just to go over, so the practice week starts, what's the exact date, Norm, on the practice week of the challenge? I believe is, hold on a second, so I believe is this day, the 22nd. 22nd, I believe, is the start of the practice week. Okay. All right, excellent, guys. So that is our watch list. So I have, again, just to go over again, WFC, Goldman Sachs, APHA, has a good chart at the moment, APHA. And then we have CVS. CVS, again, not looking great. I might drop CVS. It's just not looking too great at the moment. And then FCSC, let's see what that's doing. That's holding this 262 somewhat in this moving average. So let's see what it does there. It's got a lot of activity. Anything else you guys are watching that we might have not gone over? Yeah, I do have Disney right in here. So I have Disney here. I'm starting to get a little more active now. Did a red to green move in the pre-market. So again, was down, now is up. Disney starting to get a lot more interesting. I'm going to bring it up here now. It is starting to get interesting. Volume is starting to come in. And it looks like it might want to go back up and test that high, the all-time high. So if we look at this 130 right here, 130.90, that is the all-time high. So it looks like we might be getting up there as well. There's no other levels up here, so it's looking interesting. Let's mark down the low of the pre-market just in case, 129.98. All right, this looks good, looks interesting. Let's see what it does here. Some good volume starting to come in now, as you can see down here. If you can keep that volume steady, it can turn out to be a really good trading day. And actually, Disney had a huge pre-market end day on Friday. I mean, look at this pre-market action. That is just beautiful. And then it gave you some also around the open. So, all right, guys. So that is what we have right now. Andrew should be on in a couple of minutes, and I'll look at his watch list. I'm sure he's going to look at some of the favorites, AMD, MU, JD, and some of the other ones. See if we could find something better to trade. But right now, this is what we have. Again, it's a day that I'm going to be looking at the scanners and some possible favorites to see what else we can get out of those. All right, guys. Norm, anything else before we log off from YouTube?
That's all I've got today.
All right, excellent, guys. Trade safe. Again, it's a 4-day week.
Oh, I do.
Yep.
I do want to answer. We're still on YouTube, right? Did you answer this question about commissions?
No, it's a question for commissions. No, go ahead. Go for it.
Andrew, so the simulated commissions for the challenge week, the second week of the challenge, when P&L is locked and all of that, we're gonna work to have. We'll give full details before the challenge starts. But we're going to work to have DAS set it up similar to IB's tiered plan, where it's 0.0035 per share and 35 cents minimum per ticket. and then fees also included in that. So I hope that answers your question. I believe you sent us an email as well, and I responded to that one.
Excellent. All right, folks. So that is what we have. Safe trading today. First day of the week. Don't be aggressive. Let's just wait for setups. Again, some of these don't look too great, so it's important to wait that 5 minutes, for the market to settle in, see what the stock is giving you. Find good risk to reward, and just really do not force anything. We got 3 more extra days this week to trade and find opportunities. All right, guys, take care. Have a good trading day, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow at 8:30 Eastern time.
Take care, guys. Trade safe.